Cyberpunk 2077 is a fun game. It definitely is a good game here. It just feels like we're at a point where the fact that people are having discussions about having to No Man's Sky this game is just beyond the word disappointing. Now, I've heard people throw around for the last week or so that this is the most highly anticipated game ever with the most disappointing launch, and I don't know about that. In terms of anticipation, I actually think there's a series of other games that just had so much more interest, like Rockstar Games' Grand Theft Auto 5 or Bethesda's The Elder Scrolls V Skyrim. In terms of interest, anticipation, and just how massive those launches were, I think that it's bigger than Cyberpunk. But either way, this is a huge AAA release, and I've just never seen something so go badly for a game that actually isn't all that bad. Of course, there are problems with Cyberpunk 2077. Even my initial review, impressions, and some of my tips and tricks, the police wanted system is just completely broken. NPC AI overall is just very serviceable. Like, there's nothing impressive at all about the system in place, especially once you start, I guess, tickering around, shooting bullets, throwing grenades at them. You can see the reactions. It seems like there's a massive rush job that happened with this game. There's a lot of players, a lot of people looking back at previous footage and investigating, and they're starting to see that this game, there has to be a big story behind the development of things that went wrong. Like, I don't think that this is on the scale of Mass Effect Andromeda Anthem in terms of, things that just, like that, those games disappointed far more than Cyberpunk in my opinion, but there's just there's a story here. Things did not go properly in development, and like there's a lot of placeholder text that people are finding. It seems like CDPR really was rushing to the finish line, and then as we learned the other day, Projekt Red's executives pretty much admitted that was the case. They wanted to get this game out, which is really, it's kind of hypocritical since the big promise with Cyberpunk was that this game would be coming when it's ready, and that's not exactly what happened. But if you have been playing on the PlayStation 4, or really consoles in general, there's been a lot of problems. Even myself on PC, I've had 2 crashes, a number of visual and performance issues, lots of FPS drops. I've even heard people that have been running this game on 3090s also are having a lot of issues, but right now Sony has came out with something that I've just never seen, especially with a huge AAA release. This is just unprecedented, and I do kind of wonder why this is happening just now and not why with other games, but either way, this is breaking news. Sony removes Cyberpunk 2077 from the PlayStation Store. Will offer refunds to PlayStation players who already bought it. Absolutely crazy, cannot believe that this is happening. CDPR had previously promised to refund players, but they were previously difficult to get. Yeah, because Sony support's been pretty much saying, no, you're not getting a refund because of our policies that are in place. I guess the big question with this decision now is, did Projekt Red play a role in this and say, no, just let everybody have refunds? But I guess the confusing part of that theory of CDPR playing a role in this decision is the fact that Cyberpunk 2077 has just gone from the PlayStation Store for who knows how long. Like, if you've bought the game, you can play it right now, you can also get a refund, but if you want to play the game, you have to wait until they fix this mess, because I guess in Sony's eyes, maybe CDPR, it's in such a broken state that it's no longer on the store. And I guess the question now is Xbox going to jump in? They've been the big marketing partner with Projekt Red, and I don't think they will, but Sony's trying to take a pro-consumer stand, but I think there's going to be a lot of anger with this decision, and people wondering why this wasn't done with games like Fallout 76, which I think you could argue was a lot more broken than Cyberpunk 2077, but I guess that's a debate people can have. Either way, this is the statement that Sony has put out. They have a new actual page for this. It's PlayStation.com Cyberpunk 2077 refunds. They actually had to make a page for this. And the statement says, SIE strives to ensure a high level of customer satisfaction. Therefore, we will begin to offer a full refund for all gamers who have purchased Cyberpunk 2077 via the PlayStation Store. SIE will also be removing Cyberpunk 2077 from the PlayStation Store until further notice. Once we have confirmed that you purchased the game via PlayStation Store, we will begin processing your refund. Please note that completion of the refund may vary based on your payment method and financial institution. Absolutely insane, unprecedented, and even more of a bad look for Projekt Red, especially if they did not play a role in this refund, but I have a sneaking suspicion that they did. Maybe this is all about reputation, maybe they're agreeing that this game's just not in a state that it should have been released, but this has just turned into a disaster, like one of the biggest disasters I've seen in gaming in a long time. Also, as of recording this video, my sneaking suspicion seems to be right. IGN is now reporting an update. This is actually going out by CDPR CDPR in a press release. The company has commented on Sony's decision to yank Cyberpunk 2077 from the PlayStation Store, noting the decision was undertaken following our discussion with Sony regarding a full refund for all gamers who had purchased Cyberpunk 2077 via the PlayStation Store and wanted the refund at this time. All copies of the game previously purchased digitally on PlayStation Store remain available for use by the respective buyers. Confirms CD Projekt in its statement, gamers can still buy physical versions of the game in retail and mail order stores. CD Projekt also asserted that all digital and physical copies of the game will continue to receive support and updates. Again, this story is ongoing, but it does seem like CD Projekt did play a role in this getting removed, and I guess Sony and them just came to the conclusion that, yeah, we'll remove it from our digital storefront, which I would assume is probably going to be where a majority of the copies of this game is sold, and this is going to hurt CDPR's bottom line, but I guess Sony and CDPR agreed that that's the best decision to do for now, and I guess the question now moves to, what will Microsoft and CDPR do? And I really think that this is a reflection on just how massive refunds might be for this game right now. We have no numbers available, but I can imagine a lot of Xbox One and PlayStation 4 players are pissed and they want their money back, and we've seen numerous messages on social media, and that might be just thousands and thousands of customers who are dissatisfied and just don't care to wait for this game to get better. But I guess the one question that I still have, even after the statement given out by CD Projekt Red, which pretty much just confirms that they played a role in this, it's how much of a role did they play in this? Did Sony maybe present options, say that, hey, if you want people to get refunds, the thousands of people that are demanding it, you're gonna have to take the game off the store because you're just telling us that this game is not in an acceptable state. So if you do want that, if you want to give these customers refunds, well, this is what you're going to have to do. I just wonder if that was the ultimatum that CDPR was given, or if this was something that was amicable, but we just have no idea what these negotiations or discussions looked like, at least right now. Ultimately, though, Sony has very strict refund policies, and the key reason why a lot of people were being denied up until this point for PlayStation 4 Cyberpunk 2077 refunds was because the game needed to be faulty, and that's what Sony supports. So the game's not faulty, there's going to be patches coming. But now, I guess that the tone has shifted and the message has, in which everybody's getting refunds. So maybe did CD Projekt Red agree with Sony that said, yeah, our game is faulty and we have some fixing to do, in which Sony said, okay, well, we're taking the game off the store for now. But definitely some questions that still remain from this decision, which is just unprecedented. I'm shocked at this point. I really am, because this is a good game. It really is. It just deserved more development time. And I will say that the vision that CDPR set out for Cyberpunk 2077, the high expectations they made for this, I don't think that it equals up to what was delivered. Even if you ignore a lot of the bugs, there's just design decisions that are a bit baffling, like just other developers in this industry 10 years ago solved a lot of the problems, especially with NPCs, and I'm honestly astonished with how all of this has gone down, because if this game doesn't launch buggy, we are having discussions about some of the design decisions, but I don't think it gets to anywhere near this bad, and the community isn't just actually attacking CD Projekt Red. And yeah, a lot of people are going after developers. Again, this all falls on management. This is just a bunch of bad business decisions, and as we learned in the past, especially with The Witcher 3's development, there was a lot of chaos going on behind the scenes, and now CDPR, they tried, I guess, doing that same model to an extent with Cyberpunk, and it's just hasn't worked at all. And now the people that are actually going to have to fix this game are the developers, and this is going to take time. I guess the question now is, how long will this game be removed from the PlayStation Store? Because CDPR did say they were going to be releasing another hotfix this week. I'm just questioning what the heck is going on over there, and what actually is the thinking, and what are they actually going to be doing now? Oh my god, guys. I'm gonna keep this without actually removing audio and shit. I don't know what to say. Like, this is crazy. Cyberpunk 2077, the community has turned on CD Projekt Red in a way that is just, it feels different. It feels very unique, especially for a game that has been mostly well received when it's not bugging out. Like, I understand that this is not the next generation of gaming. That is one of the big marketing things for this game, and it's just not what Cyberpunk at all is. It's a phenomenal experience. I still stand by that. I love the story, I love the characters, I love the open world exploration, but the complaints about the user interface, the NPCs, police, and the lack of mini-games and actual things that you can do within Night City, like sitting down to have a drink or eat, I can understand those criticisms, but I also do think that in the future, a lot of this can be solved with updates updates and stuff. But the bugs and such, I think that we all can agree that that's just completely unacceptable. Of course, many of you are probably playing on 3080s, i9 9900K processors like myself, or even upwards, AMDs. You're probably having a good time on PC, but those who actually are playing this game on console, it's been a mess. And I actually did download the game on the Xbox One S, and I took some images, threw them on Twitter the other day, and actually I had to stop playing after an hour. It really hurts your eyes. I just do not like the experience, and I do not recommend it, actually. I think it ruins the game for a lot of people if you play it from that point of view, because it just looks so much better on PC, and I really hope that they get it to an acceptable state in the future. But either way, even though the CD Projekt Red developers are facing a lot of heat, unfortunately, on social media, because I think a lot of people are misguided, throwing the hate at their direction, they have no say in any of this. They have no say in the business decisions that the executives did. The executives failed consumers and their developers, their employees. But, I mean, they are facing some heat, some of these executives. They have lost $1 billion since the launch of the game. This is a report coming from DualShockers. After years of excitement and a massive marketing campaign over the course of the last 2 years, Cyberpunk 2077 launched and was quickly torn down. The game has a myriad of issues, from random bugs and glitches to outright unplayable performance on last-gen consoles. And then, as has already been reported widely, Cyberpunk 2077 has more than made up its costs of development and marketing, and now a new report released by Bloomberg yesterday found that the game's glitches and rocky launch have cost the founders of CD Projekt Red over $1 billion. Over the course of the past week, the company's stock has plummeted, yes, by almost over 30%, and with this new news that just dropped tonight, it's going to be dropping probably furthermore. Although not to record lows, their stock hasn't dropped to that level yet. Due to Cyberpunk 2077's numerous issues, the developer has provided an apology. We talked about that in a previous video. Not a lot of people seemed satisfied with that apology. Then the Bloomberg report also notes the stain that has now formed on CD Projekt Red's reputation, something that CDPR themselves has, well, they have admitted it's the case, but they have said that they are vowing to rebuild it. But, I mean, that's going to take a while, and I'll tell you one thing, guys, that Cyberpunk multiplayer, I don't feel too good about it right now. I mean, I've seen companies go down the drain, Bethesda especially. They did Fallout 4, had a mixed reaction to an extent. It was mostly good, I think. And then Fallout 76 came around, and people were like, okay, that's interesting, and then nope. And now, I don't want CD Projekt Red playing around with a multiplayer game. I'm going to be honest with a lot of you. I don't like the idea of it, especially now I'm concerned about those promises. Live service stuff, nope. I don't feel good about it at all, and I'm really not excited for that. I'd prefer that they just concentrate on The Witcher or another single-player experience. I don't know, I just really don't like single-player developers jumping to live services, especially now seeing what's happened with Cyberpunk 2077 with all the bugs and performance issues. I really don't want to have to talk about a Cyberpunk 2076, if you kind of catch my drift, even though people are calling that with 2077. But even then, I really do think that people don't understand how bad bugs have been a problem with Bethesda games. But yeah, what a mess, guys. And we even have some more news to discuss, because it isn't just that. This next story involves parent company CD Projekt and their storefront, GOG, PC storefront. This is something that they've gotten a lot of good wishes with. I love GOG Galaxy. It's a great program. It's a great way of looking at games and data and stuff like that. But now they've done something that is pissing off people, and it's something that I really do not like, and I'm very disappointed by, because I've criticized other companies for this bullshit, and now they've done the same thing, and it's censorship. Blatant censorship. So this was announced on Twitter, and they've since been ratioed by just about everybody, and this is what GOG announced. Earlier today, it was announced that the game Devotion is coming to GOG. After receiving many messages from gamers, we have decided not to list the game in our store. That is unacceptable, CD Projekt. Unacceptable. I just cannot believe that they actually did this. Now, if you don't know the story behind Devotion, this is a game that's been deplatformed from multiple platforms because it includes an Easter egg that makes fun of the Chinese president Xi, comparing him to Winnie the Pooh, so I guess that upset a lot of Chinese gamers, and now they want the game removed everywhere. Devotion is made by a Taiwanese game developer, so yeah, China not very happy with Devotion, and now we have CD Projekt bending the knee to China, which is just absolutely disappointing, and again, worst timing possible. What a week it has been for this company, what a week it has been. And even furthermore, another developer actually came out and said that they are just abandoning their GOG release for one of their games because of this decision. There's standing in solidarity with another indie developer, the ones behind Devotion, because they also find this unacceptable. Megan Fox, a developer, she said earlier today, it was assumed that the game Skatebird was coming to GOG after receiving one message from them that undercut a fellow indie developer, the devs behind Devotion, and then she would continue in her explanation, and she just said this final move by CD Projekt Red is enough for her to say that she's reached a breaking point of putting up with their crap. And really, this is what a week it has been for this company. I keep on saying that, but what a week. I've never seen things take a turn for the worse so fast. Now, I will say the comment section under this GOG tweet is a gold mine. You have people just saying, we'd love to see some proof from those so-called gamers that are upset with Devotion coming onto GOG. I wonder who these real gamers actually are. Or maybe it's just those business ties in China that they don't want to harm because, China got a lot of money over there. And then also a lot of people have been saying you've made a very poor decision, Poland. We've just got to read through a couple of them. And then somebody saying, Justin Wong saying, may we see some of those messages from gamers. And then other people, Notch even jumped in saying, wow, brave. And it goes on and on. Somebody else saying that there's no way you're not putting it on the store because of the opinion of gamers. They can just choose not to buy that game. Who cares if a game they don't want to play is simply on that platform? You just don't want the platform pulled from China. I don't exactly blame you, it's a massive market and I can understand not wanting to lose that revenue, but don't lie to your customers, just tell them that. I will say that this week has been a lot of lying coming from CD Projekt. Not a good look for a company that really has been on the front lines of saying that they are pro-consumer, because everything that's been coming out this last week is everything but that. And this is an even worse look because this is the type of stuff I expect out of Activision Blizzard, but seems like very quickly CDPR is turning into the villain of this industry with some of their decisions, and it's all the management. I don't know what happened with those guys. Why did they think any of this would go over well with gamers? Because that's the biggest incentive, the best thing about CD Projekt experiences is the pro-consumer stance, and they've just tarnished it very, very fast. And I don't know how you rebuild that. And this is just yet another example of that. And for what it is worth, the developers behind Devotion did come out with a statement. Red Candle Games, they said, "Hi, we are Red Candle Games. Earlier, GOG has announced on its official Twitter that they are no longer going to be allowing it on their store. And they said, though regretful, we are also willing to understand and respect GOG's decision. For the players looking forward to Devotion's re-release, please accept our most sincere apology. This is a difficult predicament to overcome, but we won't stop striving." And look at that, CD Projekt just screwed over an indie developer. Just what a day, what a week, what a month. But now let's circle back to Cyberpunk 2077, wrap some of these thoughts up, because there is some more updates that I do want to share and quickly go over. All they had to do is delay this game. It should have been delayed. Delay it to April. People are still going to have problems with some of the design and some of the decisions that were made, but overall it's going to be well received on all platforms. But they did not do that. They rushed it out, and now they're facing the wrath from the internet. And this is getting there. Worse than Fallout 76, maybe? In terms of outrage, people, of course. In terms of outrage, not quality. But I'm still kind of surprised that Sony reacted in a way like this with CDPR and not with other companies. But what a mess. What a mess this has entirely been. And it's not even just that, because there's even further chaos that people are bringing up, because players, as you might expect, with all the anger lingering in the room, they're going back to the 2018 gameplay trailer and saying, there's a lot of missing stuff that isn't here. And a lot of the promises that were made in that 2018 gameplay demo, the 48-minute one, it's not here. And people are digging deep into this and saying, what happened? There has to be a version of Cyberpunk 2077 that exists that has all this, but for some reason they had to cut corners. And yeah, the customization in this game, that's the biggest thing that just doesn't make sense, especially for a Cyberpunk game. There's going to be a big, I have a feeling, Jason Schreier report about everything to do with Cyberpunk 2077, and it's not going to look good on CDPR's executives. I just have a feeling that that's coming in the next few weeks or days or who knows when, but it's coming. Now, Ryan McCaffrey of IGN, he tweeted this out saying, "Another great point, it's not necessarily a win for Microsoft to stick with the game right now, but I haven't totally thought it through. I imagine there are high-level meetings happening at Microsoft tonight or tomorrow, and or on calls with CDPR studio leadership. Remember, this is what I said earlier. They've been the partners with CD Projekt Red for this game." And then Imran Khan, the ex-senior editor at Game Informer, he now is on Kinda Funny, he said, "Were I Microsoft, I'd probably start looking into whether CDPR breached their partnership contract by not being upfront about the Xbox One version of the game." This is taking a turn for the worse, guys. I have a feeling this is going to continue to get worse over the next couple of days, and now we all await to see what Microsoft does. But Daniel Ahmad, another games analyst, said Cyberpunk 2077 was expected to become a 30 million plus seller prior to launch. It could have been delayed another year and still sold more than that easily. The situation could have been avoided, but the state of the game plus CDPR's handling of the situation post-launch has led to this. Just baffling response, baffling how they went about the review process, and now this is blowing up big in their face. Daniel continues, he says, "I don't think we've ever really seen something like this in the industry before. The only thing that comes close is when WB Warner Brothers delisted Batman Arkham Knight from PC due to technical issues. But that was from the publisher themselves. This is the platform holder delisting the game. It is good of Sony to offer refunds to consumers on PlayStation 4 that are rightfully upset with the performance of the game, especially after CDPR put out its message saying it'd offer refunds and then it didn't actually work with any of the platform holders to facilitate those refunds. It's not like people didn't see this coming for a few months now. From the many delays of the game prior, to developers in QA pointing out issues, to last-gen footage of the game being deliberately hidden/taken down as admitted by CDPR and more. And remember, there was also a developer leak that pointed out that this game just wasn't ready and it was being rushed out. There are multiple lessons to learn from this, an important one being that management/production processes need to improve. It turns out crunching nonstop for months doesn't make a game good. It negatively impacts not just the health of developers, but the game too. There will be wider impacts on the industry when it comes to guidelines for marketing, certification, and refunds from a publisher and platform holder level. Anyway, it will be interesting to see how CDPR responds, plus how they can salvage the lost goodwill that they built up over the years. And right now, maybe there's a No Man's Sky happy story in the end a couple years from now, but this is another disastrous launch for a huge AAA release. And actually, No Man's Sky wasn't a AAA game, but it seems like we keep having these No Man's Sky discussions with so many AAA games nowadays. Like, can this game make a comeback? And now I guess we're going to have one with Cyberpunk. But not necessarily with the quality of the game, just, having the game playable on the Xbox One and PlayStation 4 base models. And yes, I know a lot of people want to see improvements in some of the features, and what a mess. For what it is worth, though, since we are speaking of quality, those Metacritic review scores, OpenCritic, are falling fast. Like, the console reviews for the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One are starting to come in, and they're in like the 50s, 40s. We talked about IGN's the other day, and more are coming in, and this game is taking a beating. Like, it has Fallout 76 review scores, at least on the Xbox One and PlayStation 4, but even the PC version is starting to slowly go down a little bit. This is not what I expected from Cyberpunk 2077. I expected a phenomenal experience, nothing less than The Witcher 3 like they promised, and this has just been everything but that. Anyway, what this tells me about Sony deciding to pull Cyberpunk 2077 from their store is that they themselves are unimpressed by what the game looks like on the PlayStation 4 and find it unacceptable, which is quite telling, and I wonder if Microsoft will do the same. I guess all eyes are on Microsoft for their next decision, and then CD Projekt Red, what the hell is their response going to be to this mess? Because their first apology just felt like it wasn't enough, and I really don't know what they can do right now to salvage their image, because this is a nightmare for this company. One of the biggest nightmares I've ever seen from a AAA studio, especially one that delivered a pretty decent experience. I think we all can agree on that. It's decent. It's not bad like Fallout 76 or Anthem. But yeah, this is still some breaking news happening. This is probably going to be a late upload, maybe early morning, but I'm just quite astonished. I'm shocked right now, and probably most of you are as well. Sony deciding to do this is unprecedented. I know a lot of people are going to disagree with it, but Sony obviously feels like that this game is just not in an acceptable state to be on their store, which is just extremely telling and a bad look for CDPR. And whatever Microsoft does next, that could be even worse news for CDPR. And yeah, I'm guessing right now they are having discussions with the company's or the studio's leadership, because it sounds like this game is not going to be improving on the PlayStation 4 or Xbox One until sometime early 2021. I mean, there's hotfixes coming, but what a mess, guys. What a mess. Anyway, let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below, but thank you for watching. Make sure to leave a like if you did enjoy this video, or if you found any informative value, and make sure to follow my other social media accounts for updates on new videos. Links are always down in the description below. I'm most active on Twitter, giving opinions on news that I do not always get into video form, so do make sure to follow me over there. Also, check out my Discord for all sorts of discussion on games. And again, thank you for joining. Consider subscribing for more videos like this, and I'll see you later.